Hello, everyone, and this is your Premier Injuries Weekend Roundup, Ben 10. Lots to go through. Cutting to the chase, I'm going to crack straight on with Arsenal. Granit Xhaka, slightly ahead of schedule. Mikel Arteta says that he may return before the end of the year. Good news, Celine de Kalashanak, he's targeting to return to full training in January. Steven Gerrard, Aston Villa, again, good news generally for the Villains. Douglas Luiz will travel with the squad. Morgan Sanson trained all week. Also, he'll be with the squad. And Trezeguet, obviously, we know he's been sidelined since April due to an ACL rupture, anterior cruciate ligament, very much in vogue this week. He's had one full week of training. The idea is he might complete another second week and then be considered for the under-23s. However, the cloud on the silver lining, Bertrand Traore, he's going to be some way off. There must have been a training ground setback there. Steven Gerrard said he must remain patient. Thomas Frank and Brentford, Jon Wissa will return to the matchday squad, likely to be from the bench after missing the last 5 to 6 weeks with an ankle problem. There'll also be return from Matthias Jensen. He picked up COVID while on international duty with Denmark, and also Mad Sorensen, he picked up an MCL injury in pre-season. I think it was against Forest Green Rovers. Hasn't featured at all this season. Matthias Zanka Jorgensen, he picked up a muscle problem. Was hoped that he could return, but it now looks as if he's going to be absent from the game. He will be given every opportunity to prove himself, but like I say, he could fall just a little bit short. Graham Potter, 2 long-term absentees, Stephen Alzate and Danny Welbeck, they're definitely out. Robert Sanchez returns after his dismissal ruled him out of game week 12, and also Enoch Mwepu has trained all this week with hamstring and groin issues. He should be absolutely fine. For Burnley, Sean Dyche is going to be without Ashley Westwood and James Tarkowski. Both of those players are suspended after collecting 5 yellow cards. Jay Rodriguez and Mitai Vidra, they've been on the fringes of that start 11 in recent weeks. Both of those players are complained of muscle tightness. However, Dyche is optimistic that both of those players could return. Dale Stevens building fitness with the under-23s. Ashley Barnes, it was thought that his thigh problem was just a niggle, but now we know Sean Dyche said he's going to be out of action, and I'm told that could be a fairly lengthy spell on the sidelines. For Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel, if you haven't seen our video on Ben Chilwell, check that out. It tells you a little bit more, but confirmation from the club today that Ben Chilwell suffered a partial tear of his ACL. Non-surgical, conservative treatment initially, maybe for the next 6 weeks, see how he progresses, and then a decision will be made on whether he needs to go under the knife or not. Fingers crossed with that one, but early reports suggest he has responded quite well. N'Golo Kante, he twisted his knee in the Champions League against Juventus midweek. Now, it isn't too bad, but Thomas Tuchel said he would need a miracle to return this weekend, although, like I say, he hasn't been ruled out completely. Mateo Kovacic has those, so he's out. That midfield pairing could be Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho. There was no update on Kai Havertz. He was missed out as a precaution midweek due to tightness in his hamstring. Let's hope it's no news is good news with regards to that. So we wait and see. Crystal Palace, only one confirmed injury absentee. That's James McArthur, hamstring. That was after the return of Nathan Ferguson. However, he won't be considered for the first team just yet. It's been almost 2 years since he last played competitively. Now, Everton, lots to discuss here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, back in light training, but far too early for him. Abdullah Decore, he is one that could come into the mix. Rafa Benitez said it is a metatarsal injury, and therefore the risks associated with throwing somebody back in after a significant period out are not as great as soft tissue or muscular injuries. So he should be in and around that squad. If he doesn't start, I would expect him to be named on the bench. Mason Holgate and Richarlison, they're both suspended. Damari Gray, a second scan revealed his groin injury is not as severe as first thought. There was some suggestion that it could be around a month, but he has returned to light training as well. Whether he's fit enough for this weekend, I doubt it at this stage. But like I say, in terms of him returning in the very near future, that's a positive. Andre Gomez, light training. Nothing on Tom Davies in terms of a time frame. He was last seen with his knee in a full length range brace which restricts range of movement, so that suggests that there could be some kind of ligament damage. For Leeds, Robert Koch may be in and around mid-December. Patrick Bamford, Marcelo Bielsa said it was such a serious injury, that's why those return to play timelines kept on changing depending on the evolution of his injury. Luke Ayling, he's fit and healthy, but he will build sharpness and match fitness with the under-23s on Monday. But returning back to the first team squad, Jamie Shackleton, Rodrigo, and also Rafinha, that's the big talking points. For Leicester, we saw Johnny Evans removed as a precaution prior to the Legia Warsaw game on Thursday evening. Brendan Rodgers cooled any concerns with regards to another setback. He said that he felt something, he took him away, he didn't want to take any risks, but he fully expects him to be in the squad on Sunday. Ricardo Pereira out for a few weeks if you missed that, and also Yuri Tielemans. James Justin, he's a player who would look to build fitness with a development side. He's been out for the last 8 to sort of 9 months, again with an ACL problem. No fresh injury concerns for Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp used that Champions League fixture against Porto to get some minutes in the legs of those players who are coming back from injury. Andy Robertson, hamstring. Jordan Henderson, adductor problem, they all featured. Trent was rested, Van Dijk was rested, Diogo Jota, who took a knock to his knee, was also rested. So good news with regards to that Liverpool squad. Now Pep, we've heard from Pep, and I said the same thing last week with regards to Phil Foden. He hasn't trained with the squad as yet, and he's also been given a day off on Friday along with the rest of his teammates. So with one more session, it's going to be a big call on whether he will be involved this weekend. He was risked against in game week 12, suffered a setback against Everton, and that kept him out of the Champions League. For me, it could be another risk again, just given the fact that Manchester City, well, we have a full Premier League fixture programme coming up. So Jack Grealish and Foden are currently big doubts because they haven't trained with the team, but they do have one more session on Saturday. Kevin De Bruyne, he isn't back with the group yet. We're looking at it around 6 to 7 days since he tested positive for COVID-19. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he will submit a negative PCR test in around about that 10th, 11th day, and he can return to train with the squad. Now, for Manchester United, Michael Carrick said he had 2 or 3 problems ahead of the game. What we do know, Fred twisted his ankle early on against Villarreal in the Champions League. He managed to continue and play 90 minutes. However, post-match, that did evolve a little bit. So there's question marks over his availability. And also Luke Shaw, we know he took a second blow to the head last time out. Of course, he was just returning after that concussion that he picked up in the Manchester derby. He was hit with a high velocity ball late on and went down. Now, we don't know if it was another concussion or whether it's just a head injury that's being treated, very conservatively and not taking any risk with that. For me, I think Alex Telles starts at left back. I don't see any benefit from risking Luke Shaw at this stage. Edison Cavani, no news on him. He shouldn't be too far away with the tendon problem, but likely to be that he misses out. Mason Greenwood, he's another one. COVID-19, even if he is back with the squad, he's going to lack that little bit of sharpness and fitness. And don't forget Harry Maguire, he will serve a 1-match ban this week. So Eric Bailly is likely to be partnered alongside Victor Lindelof for Newcastle. Eddie Howe will be back in the dugout for Newcastle, but on Friday, the press conference, Jason Tindall confirmed that Paul Dummett was the only injury absentee, which is good news for Fabian Schär. He limped off last weekend with what looked to be a hamstring problem. Now, given the fact that he's now been past fit, according to the club, we can sort of read in between the lines, and maybe that was a fatigue-related cramp, given the fact that he's played very little football in the last 3 months. Dwight Gale is a question mark. He has complained of a little bit of tightness, but like I say, he still has a chance. For Norwich, Dean Smith, Kieran Dowell returned to training on Thursday, which means that Christoph Zimmermann is the only player currently sidelined through injury. Of course, he had ankle surgery. We expect maybe a return in December. Sam Byron, he will play for the under-23s as he builds up fitness. For Southampton, Jack Stevens returned to the training pitches this week, but it's going to be a little bit too soon for him. He's had a significant period out, and Ralph Hasenhüttl said, he's got to work on his fitness. And also the squad has been defending quite well, and it's not just going to be as easy as slotting them back in to that back four. Musa Janetto, Nathan Redmond, they're both in contention, but Stuart Armstrong suffered a setback, another calf problem, hampered with those early on in the season that kept him out. I think for the first 8 games, he remains on the sidelines. For Tottenham, Antonio Conte reference Christian Romero's hamstring injury that he picked up playing for Argentina is serious. Now, we still don't know the full extent of that, and the player will be heading for another scan to determine how long potentially it could be out. What I would say at this point is it looks as if he's going to be out for the remainder of the year. Giovanni Lo Celso, again, major doubts over him, and also Dade Scarlett this weekend. Watford, quite an extensive list here. Christian Kabasele, he's just made tentative return to the training pitches, so far too soon for him. And that means Watford have got some problems at the back, having lost N'Kolo last weekend to a hamstring problem. Now, that looks to be quite a significant injury. Again, we don't have any timeline. The club are still evaluating the extent of that problem, but I wouldn't expect a return anytime soon. Ismail Sarr, forced off after that tackle by Donny van de Beek, a knee issue. Looked as if there was maybe potentially some MCL, some medial collateral ligament involvement of that channel. Initially, it was played down by Claudio Ranieri. We still don't know the full extent. I'm told that maybe it's good news, but he's certainly out of this weekend, and we'll wait and see when he can possibly be back in this team. Kuka is the only player due to return. He's been serving a one-match ban following his dismissal against Arsenal. West Ham, they progressed in the Europa League on Thursday night. David Moyes rested Lucas Fabianski and Mikel Antonio. So great news. It was a win-win. Mikel Antonio will go into Sunday's game fully refreshed. There are no other injury concerns. And finally, Wolves, just one player to add to their long-term list of casualties: Neto's, Moscarina, Johnny Eto'o, and that's Willy Boly. He suffered another muscular problem on the training pitches. Too early to give a definitive timeline on when he might be back, but then again, Willy Boly hasn't played a minute of Premier League football this season. That's it. We're done. May have just scraped in under 10 minutes. If you like this content, please give us a thumbs up. And if you want to hear more videos, we're dropping loads of content at the moment. Click the subscribe button and you will be notified as soon as it goes live. Thanks for now and have a great weekend.